Welcome to the Read with Aria, After Hours. Here, we're not interested in reacting to every headline just because it's loud. We want to know what actually matters. What did we see on the pitch? What does the data tell us? And, more importantly, what should we be watching next? Because football gives us plenty of information, but information without context is just noise. I'm Aria, and tonight, we're going beyond the score. This is The Read. Let's get into it. So, let's start with the champions. Opening weekend gives us clues. It does not give us conclusions. And that's where things get interesting. Arsenal looked composed. Manchester City had to fight. Liverpool had to respond. And elsewhere, some teams have already given their supporters reasons to ask questions. But tonight, we're not handing out season-long verdicts after 90 minutes. We're asking a better question. What did we actually learn? Arsenal opened their campaign with 3 goals, 3 points, and very little drama. But the result isn't what caught my attention. The control did. And control matters because title-winning teams don't need every match to become a spectacle. Sometimes, dominance looks almost boring. You control territory. You limit transitions. You make the opponent spend more time reacting than attacking. And eventually, the pressure tells. That's what I saw from Arsenal. Watch the pattern. Territory first. Patience when the opening isn't there. And when possession breaks down, pressure to get the ball back and start again. It's not frantic, it's repeatable. And that's the word I keep coming back to, repeatable. Because over a 38-game season, repeatable football is far more valuable than occasional brilliance. But there's another part of this that matters. What happens when Plan A isn't enough? That's where squad depth becomes more than a luxury. Your strongest 11 can win you a match. But over an entire season, your squad has to win you the title. Injuries arrive. Form changes, opponents adapt. And sometimes, a match simply refuses to follow the script. And that's why depth matters. Your starters set the standard. Your bench has to maintain it. And when the original plan stops working, the best teams can change the problem they're asking the opponent to solve. Your 11 can win matches. Your squad wins seasons. So, my read on Arsenal after opening weekend is simple. Don't get distracted by the scoreline. Watch the structure. Watch how often they can control a match without chasing it. And watch what happens when the first solution isn't enough. Because if the control is repeatable and the answers are there behind it, that's a championship formula. Arsenal gave us control. Manchester City gave us something different. A reminder that even the best teams don't always get to dictate the terms. Sometimes, you have to survive the match before you can control it. And City's opening weekend asked exactly that question. What do you do when the game pushes back? City didn't get a comfortable opening weekend. They got resistance. And that makes this more interesting. Because the question wasn't whether they could dominate. It was whether they could respond. And that's what stood out to me about City. The game didn't immediately bend to them. They had to adjust. They had to stay patient. And they had to trust that control could be recovered instead of forced. That's an important distinction. Because great teams aren't just defined by what they do when the plan works. They're defined by what happens when it doesn't. And that's where City's experience becomes an advantage. They don't need every phase of the match to look perfect. They can absorb pressure without abandoning who they are. They can lose momentum without losing their identity. And when the opening appears, they know how to take control of the game again. That's not just talent, that's composure. And that's the sequence to watch with City. Absorb the pressure. Adjust to the problem, then reclaim control. Not panic, adaptation. So, my read on City is this. Don't confuse resistance with weakness. Sometimes, the most important part of a performance is not how easily you control the game, it's how calmly you recover control when you lose it. That's what I saw. And if that response becomes repeatable, City will remain one of the teams everyone has to measure themselves against.